So I've lived in Atlanta for 16 years and I'm about to give you my list of the best suburbs in Atlanta in 2024, coming out right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to Living in Atlanta, the YouTube channel dedicated to helping you relocate to the Atlanta area. My name is Mark, it's a new year, and we've got a new list of the best suburbs in all Metro Atlanta. Metro Atlanta is growing like crazy, and there are neighborhoods that are developing, adding people, adding amenities and fun things to do all over the place. So the best suburbs last year are not necessarily the best suburbs this year. In front of me, I have a list of 5 amazing suburbs that you need to be aware of if you're considering moving to the Atlanta area anytime soon. So let's get right into it, the best Atlanta suburbs of 2024. Now, a quick note on this list, okay? This is a best of list, but I don't want to talk about the same neighborhood every year, right? I don't want Alpharetta to be number 1 on my list year after year after year, even though we all know technically it probably is the most desirable suburb in all of Metro Atlanta. So keep in mind that I do design these lists trying to talk about new areas that maybe I haven't discussed before. I also like to highlight things that others don't, like value and different situations depending on what might be important to you and your family. So try not to get too upset if you don't see your favorite neighborhood on this list. Like everything on my channel, this is a celebration of some great spots in the Atlanta area. All right, coming in at number 5, I have Lilburn. Now, Lilburn is one of those areas that's not going to be on many top 5, top 10 suburb lists in Atlanta, but it's on mine, and for good reason. There is some of the best value relative to the commute in town in Lilburn, okay? So Lilburn is just northeast of Atlanta, and in terms of commute, for those of you who work in the city but don't want to live in the city, traffic aside, this is a breeze to get into town, okay? This is 20 minutes to Midtown if traffic is light, okay? You are just outside the perimeter. And yes, traffic is bad all over Metro Atlanta, but this is not Sandy Springs, okay? This is not directly north of the perimeter where a lot of the most notorious congestion is. So purely in terms of commute, if you're working in town or you just want to enjoy the amenities Atlanta has to offer, or even if you travel a lot and want to get to the airport, it's not a long drive. I would say about 35 minutes to the airport. So this is a very convenient location. However, unlike a lot of suburbs that are this close to the city, there's tremendous value here. You can actually purchase a starter home today in the mid 300s. So if you're not one of those people with these massive budgets like many of us, this is an area where your dollar will really go far. Or maybe you're one of those people who wants a really big house, but you can't spend $1 million, okay? Your dollar is going to go further in Lilburn than a lot of the adjacent neighborhoods. And unlike many of the neighborhoods close to Atlanta that are affordable, this area is generally very safe. It's kind of a quiet, sleepy area. There are tons of families that live around here. So this is not an area that I personally would be concerned about my safety. This is a diverse area. We're in Gwinnett County, so we have higher than average Latin American and Asian populations here. And we're in Gwinnett County, so typically the schools are very good here. Now you do have to keep in mind Lilburn, like many areas in Atlanta, is split between different school districts, and you can get a pretty different experience depending on what cluster you're in. Now, from all my experience and research and talking with people in this area, you want to try to be in the Brookwood Parkview cluster. Now, in terms of things to do, this isn't necessarily Alpharetta, right? So in the immediate area, you might not have your trendy restaurants or late night options that you would if you lived in the city. However, you have great outdoor opportunities like many areas around Atlanta, parks, trails, hiking, tons of great nature in Lilburn. And listen, like I said, you're super close to the city, so it's easy to do a date night in Atlanta and get back to your home in Lilburn without it being too late. Now, there's not much of a downtown here right now, but they are actively working on it. Old Town Lilburn, which has a great website, by the way, is the development of a pretty amazing downtown area in Lilburn. So there's going to be more things to do, and the values in this area are going to continue to rise. Honestly, y'all, as I'm talking about it, I think I should have probably put it higher on my list. But if you want to be in the suburbs, but you want an easy commute in town, you don't want to break the bank, you want some diversity, you need a safe area with good schools, Lilburn should be one of the first places you look. All right, coming in at number 4, I have Newnan. Now, you probably heard me talk. This is an area southwest of Atlanta that I would say is probably 25 to 30 minutes to the airport, probably 45 to 50 minutes to downtown or midtown. So still very close to the city of Atlanta. It has a fabulous historic downtown area that I personally love. I always stop in that area if I have a closing in that area. Downtown Newnan is really quaint, and this is a neighborhood that's known for its architecture. Its nickname is City of Homes. There are beautiful historic homes all over Newnan. But check this out. There are livable homes for sale in Newnan right now. I checked today for $90,000. Now, look, you're probably not going to buy a $90,000 house in Newnan, but there's really good affordability here. I would say for a starter home, move-in ready, you only need to be in the mid to low $300,000 range, which is amazing for Metro Atlanta, still close to the city, so tremendous value. Like I said, we're south of Atlanta, so if you want a larger parcel, maybe you want some more privacy or you want a couple acres to yourself, south of Atlanta is going to be one of the best places to look because north of Atlanta, for instance, would just be outrageously expensive. Newnan is in Coweta County, which is a great reputation for public schools. This is a family-friendly, safe area, not an area where I think you'll need to be too overly concerned about crime. And again, depending on what city you're coming from, the amenities in Newnan may seem a little limited, but you also have some really unique amenities in this area like Serenbe, which is this really cool kind of hip artistic community that you can go and shop at and spend time in that a lot of Atlantans love to enjoy. So if you've been looking south of Atlanta, maybe you have family there, you want more land, whatever the case may be, I would definitely recommend you take a look at Newnan. All right, coming in at number 3 on my list of the best suburbs in Atlanta, I have Sugar Hill. Now you've probably heard me talk about Buford quite a bit on this channel. City of Buford in particular is known for having the best public schools in the state. Just south of Buford is Sugar Hill. So we're still in Gwinnett County. You're still gonna have very quality public schools in this area. You're gonna be a little closer to the city than you would be in Buford, but this is pretty far. If you're gonna be doing a commute, it's gonna be rough, but you're close to Lake Lanier. Okay, if you look it up on a map, Lake Lanier is right there. That is a fantastic amenity to be near if you live in Metro Atlanta, whether you own a boat or you just like being near the water. That's a big deal. Being close to Lake Lanier is a fantastic amenity. And of course, you're not just close to Lake Lanier, you're in North Georgia, right? Which has some fantastic nature, Blue Ridge Mountains. You're gonna have a great head start to that. Hiking, camping, kayaking, canoeing, bicycling, checking out the vineyards in North Georgia. You are gonna have some incredible nature at your fingertips in this area. This is also an area which has a little bit more diversity than if we were looking on the Cobb County side of things. But the best part is, again, it won't break the bank. I looked today and you can get perfectly nice move-in ready starter home in the mid 300s still here. There's also some more typical amenities like Buford Mall, which is absolutely huge, But I would also keep in mind you're not that far from Alpharetta. So if you want to go enjoy Avalon or downtown Alpharetta, that is going to be a very easy date night for you. So I really see Sugar Hill as an area for families who need good public schools, good safety, they can't break the bank on the purchase, they want some diversity in their area. Maybe they don't mind being a little bit further away from the city of Atlanta, but they really like the idea of being in North Georgia, in particular being close to Lake Lanier. Now, Buford could go hand in hand, side by Sugar Hill. Again, City of Buford schools are typically top in the state. You do have a little bit more variability in terms of crime in that area. You want to be aware of that, but Sugar Hill is not talked about enough. There is some fantastic value here, great atmosphere to raise a family, and it's my third best suburb of Atlanta in 2024. All right, coming in at number 2 on the list, if you absolutely, positively have to have the highest quality public schools in the state of Georgia, you probably want to take a look at East Cobb. East Cobb is an unincorporated neighborhood in Cobb County. Homeowners here typically have a Marietta address, but it is not in the city of Marietta. And the public schools here simply have a reputation of being high quality and rigorous. You know, I've talked with a lot of former students here, I've done a lot of research online here, a lot of comments about how rigorous the education here is and how students are typically the better for it. In particular, Pope, Lassiter, and Walton have big reputations as being very demanding, high quality public schools. Now, the other big benefit of East Cobb, outside of the great public schools, and yes, it's an extremely safe, family-friendly area here, is the proximity to the city, okay? I personally helped a client who had a home in East Cobb. He was commuting to Midtown every day. Now, of course, that could get very hectic depending on the timing of the day, but this is not far from the city, okay? If you need to do a commute, it's really not going to be that bad. If you want to do a date night, you can go into Atlanta and get back at a reasonable hour. And because you're close to Marietta, you can enjoy those amenities as well, like downtown Marietta, which is adorable. The Battery, which is where the Atlanta Braves play. And it's not just a place where the Braves play, it's a place with restaurants and shops that are open all year long, and it's a very popular amenity for us in Atlanta. Now, I will say East Cobb is probably the most expensive suburb of any on this list. The reality is, if you want a home that doesn't need any work, that's just move-in ready, that's had some renovations, you're probably going to be starting in the high 500s to low 600s, and obviously that can easily go up into the millions. But honestly, mid to high 500s in this area, I think is a pretty good deal. I mean, because the schools are so good and the proximity to Atlanta is so good, you want to talk about resale value. I mean, I've sold a lot of homes in Metro Atlanta. Not to brag, I can tell you East Cobb is probably the easiest area to sell a home in because there is such demand for good quality public schools in Metro Atlanta, in addition to all the other things that I mentioned. Now, I will say this is a little bit less diverse than some of the areas we've been discussing in Gwinnett County. So if that's something that's really important to you, you may want to consider it. I don't think it's a deal breaker. We're not talking about anything too extreme. But I do want to point that out because I understand diversity is really important for a lot of my viewers. All that to say, if you're working with a little bit larger of a budget and you positively absolutely have to have the best quality public schools, but you don't want to be in town, you want to have a suburban lifestyle, one of the first places I would tell you to look is East Cobb. All right, coming in at number 1 on my list of the best suburbs of Atlanta in 2024, it's Woodstock. Now, Woodstock might not be a sexy pick like an Alpharetta that you hear about all the time, but I'm telling you what, over the last 10 years, Woodstock has just gotten better and better and better. It's got a great reputation. I haven't talked to anyone who lives here or spends time here who doesn't think it's absolutely great. And really that starts with downtown Woodstock, okay? If I did a list of the best downtown areas, which I think I have, I've made so many videos I honestly forget at this point, Woodstock would probably be number 1. I mean, again, Alpharetta has a fantastic downtown and it's got the double whammy of Avalon, but Woodstock is charming. There's high quality restaurants, bars, retail shopping, tons of things to do. It's a fantastic highly walkable downtown area. And if you're less concerned with restaurants, bars, and shoppings, I mean, we're in Georgia. The nature here is fantastic. There's plenty of parks, plenty of walking, biking trails, plenty of opportunities for camping or enjoying rivers, or again, you're in Northwest Atlanta, so you've got a great head start into North Georgia if you want to go to a vineyard, if you want to go check out the Blue Ridge Mountains, if you want to go check out one of the amazing rivers in North Georgia, you're going to have a big head start being in Woodstock. Now, Woodstock is in Cherokee County, which has a great reputation for high quality public schools. So while Woodstock might not quite be on the level in terms of school quality as an East Cobb, I think it's really hard not to get a great education in this area. Now, keep in mind, this is a bit further out to the northwest, okay? This is probably an easy hour commute into Atlanta. There are plenty of people who do that commute on the daily. If that might be you, I'm going to say a Peach Pass will be one of the best purchases you ever make. But if that doesn't concern you, or you don't have to commute to Atlanta at all, you don't mind suburban/country living, safety, schools, fun downtown with lots of things to do is important to you, you have to consider Woodstock. Oh, and you can buy a house there in the mid 300s still. Now, it's going to be a smaller home, it's going to be a starter home, but you can get in there at a very reasonable price, okay? I think there is way more value in this area than an Alpharetta or a Johns Creek or even a Roswell. This is an area that's growing like crazy, so in terms of just pure investment, your home is going to appreciate like crazy here. I really think Woodstock is going to continue to grow and become more and more popular. So if it were me and I had kids who needed great public schools, I did not mind being a little bit further from the city, but I wanted a nice walkable area with plenty of things to do without having to leave my neighborhood or city, Woodstock would be one of the first places I look. So there you have it, my top 5 suburbs of Atlanta in 2024. I will do a top 5 neighborhoods in Atlanta coming up soon, but these are all fantastic neighborhoods if you're making the move to Metro Atlanta and you care about a lot of the things that I was talking about. I think you need to consider these neighborhoods. If you have more questions, if you want to continue this conversation, as always, this is all I do, help people relocate here from out of state. Book a call with me using the link in the description below. Call me, text me, email me, whatever you want to do. I love when my viewers become clients. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.